Welcome back to the series where we talk about my life while trying to get to level 256 in Pac-Man.
Well, welcome back to Pac-Man. And this time we're going to do things slightly differently. And by slightly differently, I mean the exact same. Except this time, we're going to go a little deeper. Alright, so if you'll remember back in part 7? No, part 6, I think it was. Part 6, I talked about some school stories, some academy anecdotes. Well, this time I'm going to continue that to finish up where I left off, which was roughly 7th grade. I'm going to hopefully get all the way through 10th grade today. So it's been a couple days since I've done that last thing. Right now I'm in the process of grinding out the Pac-Man things. So it's been a couple days rather than a couple of weeks or months. But I think I left off at 7th grade, so I'm going to start there. And we'll start with Mr. Fleming. He was one of the greatest teachers from 7th grade. He was really chill dude. He had he had the eyebrow scar. He was that kind of cool guy. He was really chill, really relaxed. Was not afraid to backtalk the students. And you know, he was really fun because I might have mentioned this in that last part, but part of his curriculum was that we had to learn the hero's journey, and how did we learn the hero's journey? By watching the movies. We watched Star Wars, and he also let us watch a movie of our own choosing, and I chose the Lego Movie because heck yeah. I remember one of my friends from that class, Leo, he watched Iron Man, the first one. And this was before I think Infinity War came out at that point, but Endgame did not. So there you go. There was also Mrs. Beach, who was amazing. She was, I had her in my GTT class, Gateway to Technology, which, if you'll recall, is just the class where we built catapults, ballistas instead of catapults, egg drop stuff. We did simple challenges like that. It was a really fun class. I think it was only a semester though, but it was still really fun. And then there's also theater and Mrs. Greenway. Heck yeah, that was fun. It was only a semester class. Oh my gosh, wow. It did not feel like a semester class. But I think first quarter we practiced, I don't know, just general theater thing, with theater history and stuff, and the big thing at the end of the quarter was we had to do a monologue. Mine was about Humpty Dumpty. We could not make our own monologue. That was like the only requirement. We had to choose one. And I did one of Humpty Dumpty. It was like, Humpty Dumpty, hard-boiled detective. I put on a grovelly voice for that monologue because that's how all detectives sound. You know, if TV and traditional media is to be believed. I had a lot of fun in that class. There was times trying to think. Then after that, in theater, we went on to the big play that most of the class, all the classes did. Actually, no. There was actually 2 different plays that were being done at the same time. Our class got the play, the Iliad. We did a play on the Iliad, and there was another one that was, what was it? It was some high school knockoff thing. I can't remember what it was, but it was some high school thingy. I didn't really know about it because we didn't really do it. But my part was rather small. I was the king and a couple background characters. We had a small class actually for you know, normal we had like maybe 20 people, which is small. And yeah, I was a couple background characters as well as the king of one of the areas. I had a really deep and definitely masculine king voice. I am the king, is how I sound. But I really enjoyed theater. I have a lot of good memories from that class. We did a lot of improv stuff that I was not good at because I'm not good at improv. There's also Pictionary too, which was fun. And then this was also when I started Spanish. I finally started Spanish because I thought, hey, there's a lot of people in my church that speak Spanish. Why not try and learn that stuff so I can, learn about them? So it was Intro to Spanish Language and Culture, which was more about culture than actual language. But hey, that was fine because it was a lot more fun. Less studying and more fun. I think that's... Well, I at least enjoyed Spanish, Intro to Spanish more than I enjoyed Spanish 1. Because, wow, it was really fun. We got to eat Spanish candy. I think I've said that already. But anyway, let's move on to 8th grade, the year that COVID hit, in which I got to be Mrs. Beach's student aide. She asked if I wanted to be a student aide or whatever, and I was like, sure, why not, man? I enjoyed you last year with GGT, and you know what? I got the position. I didn't think I was actually gonna get it, but I did, and it was strange. It was me, Anthony, and Carter. Anthony actually had bullied me back in 7th grade a bit, but we weren't in any classes together. It was just mainly at lunch and sometimes outside. But so I wasn't too enthralled to find out that he was in there. But it actually turned out that we became pretty good friends. And as it turned out, what I thought was him bullying me was actually just his way of, I don't know, that's just how he was around people. He was just a little rough. But I actually he's a really good friend now. He even invited me into his personal Discord server where he's got like 10 people. Well, more than 10, maybe like 20 people. Dude. And he also, well, he didn't really get me into it, but I started playing it because of him, I guess. I don't play it on a regular basis, which is why I'm saying he didn't get me into it, but he got me to start playing Magic the Gathering, or as it is shorthand, Magic. And I never beat him once. He didn't go easy on me just because I was new, and I respect him for that. It's just kind of the person he is. He's not one to hold his punches. And Carter, also in that group, was really fun. He was like the fun guy. He would make everything a joke. He was the class clown out of our class of 3 in the student aid. And speaking of, student aid, it gave you a lot of opportunities to do stuff. I mean, one of our responsibilities was to feed because in Mrs. Beach's classroom, we got moved down to like the bottom area. We've got a pet. Well, I say we. I'm not in that class anymore, but there was a leopard gecko named what was her name? No, I can't remember her name. Phoebe? It's not Phoebe, is it? It's Clyde. It was Clyde. Her name was Clyde. Clyde the leopard gecko. I'm thinking of Phoebe because in my science class this year we have a leopard gecko whose name is, surprise surprise, Penelope. So anyway, we had to feed Clyde a couple times with crickets. That was an interesting thing. But there was a lot of things we got to do. We got to run around the class to do errands. We get to hop into other classes, go to the office, and sometimes even just go outside and play basketball. Dude, that was my favorite class just ever. Oh man. And Mr. Collier, I had him for East. What is it? What was it? Engineering Accelerated by Service and Technology? I think that's what East stood for, but I could be wrong. But yeah, it was kind of like a freebie class. You got to work on personal projects or projects for the community. It was fun. I mean, I don't know, not my favorite class, but the teachers and the people in it made it so fun. I would do it again. I didn't, but I would. And Mr. Collier there was he was a really fun guy. He had the class of English teacher, and he also worked on movies as a side project. I never actually got to be in one because COVID hit, but I was signed up to be a potato because he saw me photoshopping myself onto a potato, and he was like, "Genius, you're gonna be that now." But of course, COVID hit, and now I'm not in this movie, which is fine. I got to watch the movie from last year, from 7th grade, and it's exactly what you'd expect out of a school $0 budget film. It was incredible. It was one of those movies that was so bad it was good, and I really wanted to be a part of the next one, but it's fine. It's fine. Oh, and speaking, while we're on East, there was towards the beginning of that year, we made a clock. We made a clock that would tell the time. It stopped working towards the end of the year, because I guess the battery died or something. But it was a clock it was a cardboard clock with 3D printed numbers around it, and some plastic, what do you call them, the hands, plastic hands to tell the time. But the actual clock face had a bunch of pictures of us. Sorry, I got called out for lunch. I don't remember exactly where I left off, but it was somewhere with the clock. So I'll have future me cut out whatever I've already talked about. And so on the clock face, there was a bunch of pictures of us, the group, our East group, that we had put on there. And it was a nice memorabilia of our time spent in the East Room, doing all those fun things. And side note, this year, well, my brother finally went to junior high. I think I mentioned this in the last episode, or in that last episode too, but we went back there, and because my brother is now in junior high, and so we had open night, and so we went back there, and I went to go say hi to Mrs. Beach and Mr. Collier and all those guys, and the clock is still there 3 years later, even though none of the people in those pictures still go to that school. And I think it's really nice and sweet that she kept it up there, even if it doesn't really serve any purpose, because the clock is still not fixed. At least when I got there, it still wasn't fixed. It's just there. It's a nice. It's I don't know. It's really nice. And of course, this was the year that COVID hit, and got to stay home. The only good thing that really came out of that, because I had to stop spending time with all those people that I enjoyed, and like Marlon was there. Yeah, I made a series that was called Plushie's Rise, a 5-part mini series that came out to a total of 20 minutes, and it was all about my plush toys and how they were gonna overthrow me, or whatever. I had fun making that. It's not very good. I'm not gonna publish it on YouTube, but it's something that I made. It was fun. Moving on to 9th grade, last year for me. I don't know. I don't really have as many stories to tell as I did from 8th grade, but it was really big. And I remember the first 2 days where I had to find all my classes. I was proud because I didn't need to ask for directions. I managed to figure out my way through the school first try. And it was incredibly big. And that year I also had to move around a lot too. I was going from the south to the north building, because we have 2 buildings at high school, and we had to move from the south to the north. I had to move from the south to the north a lot. Even one time where I went to the 2nd floor of the south to the 3rd floor of the north. That was a trip, and it's also a little difficult considering you only have 5 minutes to get 2 classes. But yeah, not too bad. And also, this was kind of when I realized that COVID really messed me up. Because I sort of lost my ability to communicate very well. Like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't continue conversations very well. And it's still something I'm trying to recover from. Because I can't can't communicate very well anymore, and I don't know why. But I guess staying at home and not really talking to anyone sort of made it hard for me to get back into talking to people. And I have a really hard time talking to people now, even friends. I I think I'm better than I was last year at the very least, but it's still a struggle to not reach dead silences where I'm trying to think of something to say, something clever, something even remotely okay. I don't know. It's whatever. I also met Alyssa and David. Well, I already knew Alyssa. Alyssa, she was somebody who went to East last. No, not well, in eighth grade. But not in the same class as me. But she was somebody who asked for my help with Photoshop because I was a Photoshopper back in East. That's pretty much what I did with my free time in that class. I love Photoshop. I wish I could have it, but whatever. You make do with what you got. I got PowerPoint 2010 mode. That's pretty good, I guess. Anyway, yeah, I met her there, and I don't know. She let me sit down with her at lunch because, well, I didn't really know where to sit, and I sat with her, and I continued to sit with her through the entire year. She was really nice. I appreciate her. I also met David towards the end of the semester, the first semester, who was also really nice. And I don't know. He was really fun to be around. Well, because he was just so nice, and really he was just really pleasant to be around. And me and Alyssa sat at lunch a lot, and also early on I sat. It was me, Alyssa, and Anthony, the same Anthony from eighth grade, student aid. And then after he left because he went virtual, it was a couple weeks of just me and Alyssa, and then it was me, Alyssa, and David when I finally met him. And I gotta say, ninth grade was overall kind of lonely compared to other years, at least. Um, I don't know. It was. I didn't really have a lot of friends to talk to during classes, but hey, that's life. I also started the 0 hour, which meant I got to wake up 2 hours earlier than I normally do. So, instead of waking up at like 7:30, I wake up at wait. I guess that's only an hour earlier, but I wake up at six now. Um, but I'm not a morning person, so I don't know why I did 0 hour. Whatever. It's also when I started doing film class, and that's what led to the Mumfrey's Awakening, Mean Words song, and the Final Stand videos that you have on my YouTube channel. That was the result of my work in film class. I don't know. I don't have really a lot of stories to tell. Jaden, I had a lunch with Jaden Q. I don't know if I can say her last name, but Jaden Q. She's the one who got me back into drawing. Well, at least for that year, because she started making these pictures for me, and of course I needed to pay her back in some way because these drawings weren't like they weren't bad drawings. They were stuff that was put time into it. So I started making drawings for her, and we ended up sort of just trading drawings throughout the year. Just like, hey, here, have a drawing, and then she gave me a drawing. That was kind of fun. I still have. She gave me over 50 drawings by the end of the year. I haven't counted them all, but there was over 50 at the least. So that was really nice. And now it's 10th grade. And, well, I'm only about a month into 10th grade right now. Who knows? By the time you're seeing this, it's going to be like 2 months into 10th grade because this video is not going to come out until like a month after I'm recording this. But, yeah, it's looking better than ninth grade at the very least. And I actually got, my math teacher from last year was Miss O'Mara, and I actually got her room again, the same room she had last year. But it's a different teacher, but it's still the same room, the same posters on the wall. Again, I think I mentioned this in the last video, but same room. It's really weird. And honestly, while it does look a little better, it does look a little scarier because there's really hard classes. Like I'm taking Spanish 3, and it's hard to keep up. AP World, that's impossible to keep up with. I barely have a passing. Well, I barely have an A in there. Oh man. But other than that, 10th grade, I'm hopeful. I'm actually about to run out of time, so I don't know, just show up on screen how many Pac-Man levels we got through today. Awesome. Yeah, thanks for watching. Wish me luck for 10th grade. Bye!